X-Wing Part 3, Further Engagements of the X-Wing and Red Squadron. Red Squadron conducted a multitude of missions in the X-Wing. It had proved itself to be a versatile craft across many battlefronts. These ships could often be outfitted to decimate Imperial capital ships or fly into an engagement zone to drop a devastating payload and even get out of a system before the Empire could respond. Given this versatility, a portion of Red Squadron was tasked with an escort mission to Giju. Commander Nara, along with Antilles and Skywalker, operating under the call signs Red 3 and Red 5 respectively, the escort encountered a patrol of TIE fighters. Such low numbers were no match against the X-Wings. However, with the patrol eliminated, the Empire would flex its numerical advantage and sent additional fighters to take down Red Squadron. To get out of trouble, Red 3 and Red 5 executed a scoot and shoot maneuver, flying nose to stern, with Red 5 appearing from behind Red 3 to snipe enemy combatants and return to the relative safety of Red 3's shadow. A maneuver like this would not even be possible with Imperial TIEs due to the lack of shields. The T-65 could take several hits before the shields even became overwhelmed. Knowing this, Red 5 was able to score an additional 3 kills before 4 more TIE fighters descended onto the small formation, forcing the pilots to eliminate the remaining TIEs in standard dogfights. Once the engagement was clear, the versatility of the T-65 X-Wing would be shown once more as Red Leader called in her final mission orders.
Nice flying. The package is clear and calculating jump into hyperspace. Activate your scatter protocols, and we'll meet at the rendezvous point at 2300 hours.
The scatter protocol was something only a hyperspace-capable craft could accomplish. Due to the numerical disadvantage of the Rebel Navy, secrecy was crucial. By having each pilot make several random hyperspace jumps away from an engagement before converging back to base, the Empire would have a very difficult time using hyperspace trajectories to triangulate the position of Rebel bases. The mission to Giju highlighted the maneuverability, firepower, and tactical capabilities of the X-Wing in the hands of such capable pilots. Not all Rebel encounters were met with such high kill tallies for the Rebel pilots. In the engagement at Vrogos Vas, Vader tracked Luke to the planet of Vrogos Vas after the Battle of Yavin. Eager for retribution, the Sith Lord engaged the Rebel forces at the refueling base. Vader, being one of the best fighter pilots in the galaxy, laid waste to the rebels there. The base was able to deploy blue, gray, and yellow squadrons against Vader. In one of the few engagements where the rebels held the advantage of numbers, it would do them no good. Vader expertly shot through the rebel ranks, scoring many kills against rebel forces. Vader used his mastery of the Force and skill in a cockpit to decimate 3 full squadrons before being knocked out of action by Skywalker, who only managed to do so by ramming into Vader. Commander Nara quickly relayed that to Alliance Command.
Vader down. I repeat, Darth Vader has been shot down. This is Red Leader calling for assistance from all available Alliance forces.
The rebels had taken heavy losses and were eager to capitalize on this moment. Both Skywalker and Vader fell to the surface of Vrogos Vas. This was the beginning of the Battle of Vrogos Vas, a story for another time. Eventually, Vader escaped capture and left a field of dead rebels in his wake. This is where we get to see Vader really strut his stuff when he's engaged with an entire group of rebel forces on the ground.
Darth Vader, lay down your weapons. You are surrounded. All I am surrounded by is fear and dead men.
As Darth Vader responds to the Rebel Commando Company ordering his surrender. The rebels take heavy losses, and eventually Vader was able to escape capture and left the field of dead rebels in his wake. Less than a year after the Battle of Yavin, Imperial forces found Tureen VII to be in violation of Imperial edicts and was sympathetic to the rebel cause. The planet was soon blockaded with Imperial Star Destroyers and the surrounding space filled with a swarm of TIE fighters. Several attempts were made to break the blockade, yet were unsuccessful. Skywalker, Red 5, then proposed hijacking a Star Destroyer. This would require a boarding party found aboard the Millennium Falcon and a starfighter support group from Red Squadron. The X-Wings had the ability to go toe-to-toe with Imperial TIE fighters and bring heavy weapons in to damage even the mighty Imperial Star Destroyers. Under the flashing lasers of Red Squadron, the boarding party made their way into the Star Destroyer Harbinger. To secure the ship, however, they needed to force the Imperial forces out. They needed to start the abandoned ship process. There are too many soldiers, officers, and other Imperial agents aboard a Star Destroyer for a 5-man team to take on alone. The X-Wings of Red Squadron would provide the solution. With enough ordnance on hand, the X-Wings were able to deal a blow to the Harbinger that allowed the X-Wings to target the main reactor of the ship. Even a small amount of damage to the reactor would cause it to go critical and destroy the ship. Red 3 led the charge towards the reactor, yet missed the mark. This was a mistake that would weigh heavily on Red 3. Not only did Antilles miss, but the prolonged engagement led to the deaths of Red 7 and Red 9. Following the lead of his comrades, Skywalker was able to fly into the breach and scored several hits on the reactor with his laser cannons, enough to put it into overload. The resulting explosion would vaporize the ship, and the abandoned ship order was given. With all the Imperials looking to get off the ship as soon as possible, the boarding party were able to jettison the reactor in time and liberate the ship from Imperial hands. The rebels were then able to use the Harbinger as a knife to cut through the Imperial lines. Still operating with Imperial codes, the Harbinger entered the system of Tureen 7 at almost light speed and was able to collide with 2 other Imperial Star Destroyers as it decelerated. The blade had struck home, and Rebel craft poured from the hangar bay. It was up to these Rebel fighters, especially the X-Wings of Red Squadron, to deal with the adjacent moon bases and the swarm of TIEs. However, Vader appeared to be leading the TIE squadrons from his TIE Advanced X-1 and reaped a hefty tally of dead among the Rebel starfighters. If not for the firepower of the X-Wings, the Rebel forces would not have been able to take Harbinger in the first place, or subsequently destroyed the Imperial moon bases, breaking the blockade and providing supplies to the surface and extracting the wounded from Tureen 7.